The question of who will dominate the next decade, India, China, or the United States, isn't just a matter of headlines. It's the question shaping global economics, security, and the future of power itself. For years, the US has been the unquestioned leader, China the challenger rising with unstoppable momentum, and India the sleeping giant just beginning to wake. But as we step into the mid-2020s, the balance of power looks less certain than ever before. The US still leads in military might, technological innovation, and global influence, but is weighed down by political polarization and mounting debt. China, meanwhile, is grappling with demographic collapse, slowing growth, and international isolation. And India, once dismissed as chaotic and inconsistent, now finds itself in a position of rare opportunity, fueled by demographics, digital innovation, and strategic alliances. The next decade will not simply be about GDP numbers or military spending. It will be a contest of resilience, adaptability, and vision. So let's break it down. First, the United States. Despite constant narratives of decline, America remains the center of global finance, innovation, and soft power. Silicon Valley continues to birth technologies that change the world: AI, biotech, quantum computing, space exploration. Its universities attract the brightest talent from across the globe, often from China and India themselves. Militarily, the US still maintains the largest network of bases worldwide, unmatched naval power, and alliances through NATO, Quad, and AUKUS. Yet beneath this dominance, cracks are widening. Political polarization threatens stability. National debt has surpassed $34 trillion. Younger generations are questioning capitalism itself. The US can project power, but can it sustain domestic unity long enough to remain the global leader? Now, China. For 2 decades, it looked unstoppable. Double-digit growth, massive infrastructure, the Belt and Road Initiative stretching influence from Asia to Africa. Beijing booked the world's factory and became the second largest economy. But cracks are visible. The one-child policy has left China aging before it got rich. By 2030, hundreds of millions will retire while the workforce shrinks. Youth unemployment is soaring. Property bubbles burst, leaving families with lost savings. Internationally, China faces pushback. The US and its allies restricting semiconductor exports, neighbors growing wary of its assertiveness in the South China Sea, and dependence on imports of energy and food that remain vulnerabilities. China is still powerful, but its path to dominance is no longer guaranteed. It is facing its most difficult decade since Deng Xiaoping's reforms. And then there's India, the dark horse of global power. With a population of 1.4 billion that has just surpassed China's, India now possesses the demographic advantage China lost. Half its people are under the age of 30, a workforce brimming with energy, ambition, and digital fluency. India has quietly become the world's IT and outsourcing hub, with companies like Infosys, TCS, and Wipro powering global businesses. But it's not just outsourcing anymore. India is developing its own AI ecosystems, fintech startups, and space program, exemplified by Chandrayaan-3 landing on the moon's south pole in 2023. On the geopolitical stage, India walks a careful tightrope, maintaining strong ties with the West through Quad, buying arms from Russia, and balancing its rivalry with China along the Himalayan border. Critics point out India's flaws: poverty, inequality, bureaucracy, but few can deny that momentum is on its side. The next decade might finally be India's chance to turn potential into power. So, who wins? Right now, each nation carries both advantages and weaknesses. The US has leadership, but faces internal divisions. China has scale, but faces structural decline. India has momentum, but still lacks infrastructure and global influence. In Part 2, we'll dive deeper into economics, technology, and military strategy, and uncover which country is most likely to define the 2030s. When deciding who wins the next decade between India, China, and the US, it comes down to 3 pillars: economics, technology, and military power. Let's start with economics. The US economy remains the largest at over $27 trillion GDP, with consumer spending driving global demand. China is close behind at around 18 trillion, but slowing growth and debt are dragging it down. India, meanwhile, just crossed 4 trillion, but is growing faster than both, often at 6 to 7% annually. By 2030, India could overtake Japan and Germany to become the world's third largest economy. Yet size isn't everything. Quality of growth matters. The US has innovation-driven growth, China has investment-driven growth, and India has people-driven growth. Which model is more sustainable? Technology is the second pillar, and here the US leads by miles. AI, biotech, semiconductor dominance, private space companies like SpaceX, all of these ensure US leadership in the industries of the future. China, however, is catching up fast, investing heavily in AI surveillance, electric vehicles, and green tech. China is modernizing rapidly, building blue water navy capabilities, hypersonic weapons, and space militarization. India's military is strong, but primarily regional, focused on Pakistan and China. Yet alliances matter. The US has NATO, Quad, and AUKUS. India is deepening ties with the West. China, meanwhile, struggles with distrust from neighbors like Japan, Vietnam, and Australia. Power in the next decade won't just be about weapons, it will be about partnerships. So, who wins the decade? The US may retain leadership, but struggle with domestic divides. China risks peaking and facing decline. India could surprise the world, leveraging demographics, digital innovation, and diplomacy to rise as the swing power of the 21st century. But maybe the real answer isn't who wins. It's how these three giants coexist, compete, and collide. That will define the decade ahead. And here's where I turn to you. Do you believe America can hold on to its dominance, or is the torch about to pass to Asia? Will China overcome its crisis, or is India the true winner of the next decade? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate this global power struggle together. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the battle shaping our future.